My name is Hope Stevens. I'm the general manager for Land & Company, and my relationship with Express is they help us fill positions that are needed throughout the company. There's a couple of best practices that I like to engage, with my level of engagement with my team. Is that first engaging with my team, making them feel appreciated, making them feel that their voices are heard, that their opinions matter is super important to me. And giving them the tools to get them to where they need to be. Don't make rash decisions. When you are changing a policy or a procedure, think it through thoroughly. Communication, talking through it with different staff members, getting their different points of view on something to me is important. Again, valuing these employees and what they think. Critical skills that I have learned: communication. It's big. You can't assume what other people are thinking. They shouldn't assume what you're thinking. Keeping those lines open is important. Teamwork is important. I can't do it all by myself. I need the team to help me get it there. I may guide them, but they're the ones that perform all the duties. They're the ones that put in the hard work. It involves kind of a mutual respect with staff members, and just because I may be a GM doesn't mean that I'm not approachable. I always have an open door policy with my staff, and they know any question. There's never a stupid question, you know what I mean? And it may be something I didn't even think of, and they'll ask me something and I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't even think of that. They're like, oh my goodness, the GM didn't even think of that? No, I love the new people coming in because they bring in fresh ideas. When you're in a position for a while, sometimes it gets a little bit, kind of like this, and you don't think about those what ifs. So for me, the key component for today's, thriving professional and how to increase the value is knowing and explaining the why, explaining the cause and effect. When people are not in a management role, they don't understand why we make certain decisions. So when you explain it thoroughly to them, it helps them make wiser decisions when they have to make them on their day-to-day, practices. So I am an open book when it comes to explaining why we change a policy or why we change a procedure or why we're doing certain things. You have to explain the cause and effect for any employee to be effective. And I think we're pretty clear at Land & Company, of our why, and then we have to explain after that it's the cause and effect. If you do this, this happens. If you do this, it affects this. And a lot of the entry-level positions don't understand that even the decisions they make will affect something down the line, whether it's a budget or someone being approved, so it's a cause and effect that you have to teach. And it's no secret of what we do. We lease apartments and we find people homes and we want to make them happy. And we have to do that by maintaining the property, giving great customer service. So they have to understand that, if you waive this, what's this going to affect, And I love sitting down with somebody in an entry level and and it just kind of blows their mind. They're like, whoa, it does? So it's kind of cool. I don't put anybody out on the floor or in a position until they are trained. It sets them up for failure. And it took me a long time to learn that. We would hire somebody and we'd put them into a position right away. And then we'd wonder why they weren't doing the job. We try to give them all the tools they possibly can have to succeed, because that's what we want them to do. We want them to succeed. And so we won't put them out anywhere. And there's no cookie cutter training. You can see in a book that, oh yeah, it's going to take you 3 weeks to do this, but train this. No, it depends on the person's ability. If they're not getting it right away, we give them a little bit extra time, but we don't want to put them into a position to fail. We're putting them in a position to help us, further their career and to make our company a better company. We want to have, trained people. And I am a huge one on cross-training. I love cross training. One, it makes these people feel valuable. They're like, I'm learning another position, even though I was hired for this position. You know, it helps us out if we need to fill a position. Well, I already have that kind of experience. So to me, it's training. I mean, it's important, you know, and I don't care if it's outsourced. I don't care if it's the classes we do in our company, training. Yeah, we've taken advantage of some of their classes here, and Express has been fabulous for us. You know, we did, and they're really unique topics, you know, like active shooter training, and being in an apartment community, you kind of need to have some type, and that's not something that you can get from other places. It's very unique, you know, and I hope to goodness that would never happen at one of ours, but if something like that was ever, then we have some people that are trained on it, you know, or diversity in the workplace, or even with our clientele, you know what I mean, and or stressful situations. I can always come to these guys here and they will fit a class for me. Oh, well, we have this class or we have that class. So it's been nice. When it comes to professional advice for these young professionals, once you get in a position and you learn the basics, you got to set personal goals. And then once you've mastered those, then you set next goals that are even higher, you know. Communicate with your superiors. If you don't like something, you have to convey that to them. Or if you want to move up in the company, or you think you're strong for a certain position, you got to talk to your supervisors, you know, or someone that your direct supervisor, or even, you know, the GM, and let them know, hey, I really am interested in this position, you know. Would you ever consider me for it? Because I have so many people, like, I'll do some shifting in my company and they're like, well, I didn't even know that I could even apply for that, or, you know, I would really have liked to have been in that or considered one. I'm like, well, I didn't know that you even wanted that position. So, you know, you got to communicate. Believe in yourself. That's huge. You got to believe in yourself. You know, going into this, and you got to believe that you can do the job. If you can't, you got to say it, you know, or if you need help or whatever. And the other thing is give 150%. 150% in everything that you do, it'll pay off. Express is fantastic and they're awesome, and I love working with them. We work really close together and we work as a team, so we get many different kinds of people that come to work for us, and some that may need a little bit of extra coaching. And I personally interview every person that comes in the door on the office level. And again, that's it, where I want them to know that I'm approachable. Just because I'm here on the hierarchy of this corporation, that doesn't mean that you can't call me. And I have had some that, even though they may be at an entry level, and a couple weeks in, they're like, Hope, I can't work with this manager, you know? And I try to match up personalities as best as I can, but at the end of the day, there's a need, you know, and we'll see if you can work together, and we try to give the coaching. The Express has been fantastic with, if I couldn't get through to them, then they'll make a personal phone call. They have a vested interest, I think, in every person that they place. You know, they know them, like they've had these detailed conversations with them, and they're like, oh, well, she's this, and this, or she's been through this, or they've been through this, and it's like they know them. And I know you guys have a ton of employees, and for them to know the specifics on these employees is fantastic. Because then that makes me look at them like, oh, I can understand why they're doing it, or understand why they're acting like this, you know? Let's try to work with them. I mean, we try to work with anybody that comes in, you know what I mean? And it's just been fantastic. It's been a great relationship. So that's all I gotta say.